can you tell us what's happening here today?
Well, right now what you're witnessing is you're seeing camp setup for a fast that's going to be happening here on the east green space of the Manitoba Legislature. The men are putting up the tipi. The men will be lighting the fire, and the elder will be lighting the pipe, and there'll be a feast to start the fasting process, which a number of women have agreed to undertake in order to draw the spiritual strength we need to be able to continue working on bringing our children home.
Okay, and what do you have to say about CFS and how about 90% of the children in care are First Nations?
Well, a lot of people think that we've created the Family Advocate's Office because we're looking for excuses, for our children in care, and that's not the truth at all. We've created the Family Advocate's Office because there's nobody advocating for the parents who are struggling, who feel ashamed, who have a difficult time getting out of bed because they know their little ones are in care somewhere, maybe in a crisis center, or maybe in a group home, or maybe with a family from another part of the world, and people cannot rest and cannot sleep knowing that. So we've created this office so that parents will have an outlet, and we've done it without government money. That's one very significant thing that people aren't aware of, is that government doesn't sponsor or pay for the empowerment of Indigenous people. We've got to do it on our own, one step at a time, and that's why this is significant, and that's why we're doing this right now.
Well, and a lot of parents believe, because after all there are about 40,000 parents affected in Manitoba alone by CFS, and a lot of people believe that there is some kind of conspiracy to mess with First Nations culture by taking away children at such an early age.
Well, it's not just cultural, but it's social. It's also economic. The child welfare industry in Manitoba puts about $500 million in play each year. That's $500 million in circulation. That $500 million is a very, very significant contributor to Manitoba's economy. So what we've done is we've turned our children into money.
Yeah.
We've turned children into a commodity.
Yeah.
And and the speculation in that type of marketplace, it's speculated on the tragedy of our families.
Yeah.
And it's a very good business. Now, to break that down, we're going to have to recognize that we cannot commodify our children. We cannot turn them into money. We've got to find a stronger foundation from which to provide protective services, because the commodification of them is contributing to the tragedies that we're seeing every day.
And a law would say that children aren't government property; they're the property of their parents, and that parents should be looking after their children. What do you think of the disproportionate amount of children taken away by CFS? For in a lot of cases, someone smoked pot in their garage when their child was in bed, and their child is taken away, or some parents are in poverty, so they think that would be a good reasoning to take a child away.
Well, there's always going to be jurisdictional disputes in terms of who is responsible for the care of children. At one point, a lot of people said, well, it's the federal government's responsibility because they're responsible for First Nations people. And then people say, oh, it's the province's responsibility or jurisdiction. And I say it's the family's jurisdiction. There are laws within the family structure that bind obligations to parents. Children don't belong to parents; they belong to the Creator. And apparently they don't belong to parents. Yeah. So,
but certainly not the government.
Certainly not the government. This notional idea that children belong to somebody is, to me, is a very secular way of considering the sacredness of the child.
Sure.
I think that that's once we reground ourselves in our natural laws, our traditional ways, I think things will start to turn around for us. We'll begin to realize those old teachings that come from the ego, for example, in terms of its commitment to its babies. In terms of the other teachers along the way, such as respect.